Welcome to The Other Side of the Page, a Bookish podcast where we yap about the books we love
and the songs that give us main character energy.
We're here to sift through the chaos that is our TBR.
And to let you know why a book might just be your next favorite read.
I'm Britt, dramatic plot twist lover and champion for MMCs needing to be more pathetic and down bad.
And I'm Hannah, reader of at least 5 books at once and a detailed fantasy map enthusiast.
Every Wednesday, press play on a brand new Bookish episode.
And stay up to date with the books we will be covering by following us on social media at othersideofthepagepod over on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads as well.
Yes, and don't forget to follow, rate, and review the podcast with a shining 5 stars if you're enjoying it on your preferred platform. It helps us so much with visibility.
And this week, we're yapping about Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone and the songs that we're adding to our Bookish playlist.
Yeah, we'll be deep diving our song choices alongside the plot, chatting about our favorite moments, and telling you why Promise Me Sunshine should be moved to the top of your TBR. So grab an iced coffee
or iced chai,
and let's turn the page together.
Dear reader, let's read the synopsis of this book.
Yes.
Lenny is a bit of a mess. Ever since cancer stole away her best friend, she has been completely lost. She's avoiding her concerned parents, the apartment that she shared with her best friend, and the laminated live again list of things that she promised to do to survive her grief. But maybe if she acts like she has it all together, no one will notice she's falling apart. The only gigs she can handle right now are temporary babysitting jobs, and she just landed a great one, helping overworked single mom Reese and her precocious daughter Ainsley. The only catch, Ainsley's uncle, Miles. Miles always seems to be around and is kind of a walking version of the grumpy cat meme. Worse, he seems to be able to see right through her. Surprisingly, Miles knows a lot about grief, and he offers Lenny a proposition. He'll help her complete everything on her live again list if she'll help him connect with Ainsley and overcome his complicated relationship with Reese. Lenny doubts that anything can fill the void her best friend has left behind, but between late-night ferry rides, midnight ramen, and a well-placed shoulder whenever she needs it, Miles just won't stop showing up for her. Turns out, sometimes your life has to end to find your new beginning. And we think you should read this book if you're into heartfelt emotional romances, friends to lovers, slow burns, incredible grief representation, and a story that will stay with you for a long time.
Yes, and you might want to avoid this book if processing grief, cancer, death of a parent, terminal illness, and heavy discussions of mental health are potentially triggering for you. Promise Me Sunshine takes everything head on and does not shy away from that. So if you have any concerns, this might be one you want to skip.
All right, let's talk about our songs.
Song choices. All right, what song did you pick, Hannah?
I picked Meltdown by Niall Horan.
I feel like Niall had such commercial success, but I feel like so many people don't know his discography, and he has some incredible songs. Absolutely incredible. So I can't wait to hear you talk more about that one.
Let's hear yours.
I picked the song as soon as I finished reading this book. I think it was a couple months back, but I picked Call Your Mom by Noah Kahan.
You know I love Noah.
I know. And I'm not going to lie, when we were doing this outline and I was pulling quotes and listening to Call Your Mom, like I absolutely started crying again. Now we're going to get into our pages turned and bridges burned section. This does contain spoilers for Promise Me Sunshine, so if you have not read the book, now would be a great time to pause the podcast, back out, and then come back once you have read it. But we're going to start with our theme lyrics from our songs and then explain briefly why we picked the song. And then we're going to chat a little bit more about Promise Me Sunshine and break down our songs alongside the plot.
So we're going to talk about our theme lyric first.
Yes, theme lyric first. So Hannah, from Meltdown, what theme lyric did you pick and why specifically did you pick this song?
So the theme lyric for me is when it all melts down, I'll be there. Because I feel like that's Miles and Lenny. Like when anything melts down, anything, like they will be there, especially like Miles shows up. Like, you know, in a previous book we read, right? Love shows up. That's like a big thing. And that's just what it reminds me here too, is like, when all melts down, I'll be there. Like nothing can kind of take that away. Like I will be there for you no matter what in any situation.
Yeah, it's so good.
What about for you?
My theme lyric was, don't let this darkness fool you. All lights turned off can be turned on. And I picked this song. This song is very heavy. And this song does lean toward themes of suicide is what we can kind of, take from it. But I think that it encompasses the darkness that is grief and going through any sort of mental health struggle. And when I finished this book, I thought that this was truly one of the best depictions of grief that I have ever read. And this was like the first song that I thought of, like, as it was playing. And it just felt like it felt like Miles talking to Lenny. Like, I've been where you are. And I have a couple of lyrics too that we'll tie in as we go. But yeah, this is one that I firmly believe would be on this book's playlist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one for sure. When I saw Noah live, I had to leave early for something, and after the fact, because he doesn't play this song live like very often at all, if at all.
Yeah.
And after I saw that like the power went out, and so he like asked the crowd what they wanted to hear, and he played this song, and I missed it, and that was so sad. But I was very happy that everybody
that was there got to hear it. Absolutely.
Yes. So one thing I did love about Lenny, because I think she is such a fun character.
Yeah.
And I love every time she meets a man, she like has these little fantasies about like them falling in love and what, like she makes up a scenario about them and everything, and it's just so fun, everybody that she meets, and I just think it's adorable.
Yeah. I feel like Lenny was such a dynamic character, and in this book we only get one POV. So we are with her through all of the ups and downs, but like I loved her inner monologue. Like, and the longer I sat with this book, the more I liked it. Like at first I loved this book, but I was like, maybe there was something like I didn't fully connect with. But the longer I sit with it, the more it hits me of just how impactful this book was on me. And I think too, if you guys don't know, Hannah and I are huge audiobook listeners, but Alex Fink's performance of this audiobook was unbelievable. Like, I felt like I was like witnessing someone's joy through a speaker, and the heartbreak, the ups and the downs. And Alex Fink also did Love and Other Conspiracies by Mallory Marlowe and Passion Project by London Sperry. So I am a big fan of her narration style, and I think it lent so well to Lenny's characterization.
Yeah, no, I agree. I liked that it was just from her POV. I don't think I would have liked anybody else's.
Yeah.
With this, like I don't think Miles. I liked being able to like see Miles through Lenny.
That makes sense.
Really connect with Lenny that way.
Yeah.
Then I feel like if we saw like Lenny through Miles, I think Cara did a good job of showing us.
Yeah.
Like Lenny through Miles, just in the way he was interacting. And like one of my favorite quotes too is when she comments about him like sleeping. And Miles is like, I'm never sleeping when I close my eyes like this. And she's like, well, what are you doing? Yes. And he says that he's committing the moment to memory. And so I think those small moments are really how we see Lenny through Miles. Like that Miles really cares and wants to be there. And he is in that moment with her always.
Yeah. And I love that he was like surly at the beginning. I thought it was low-key hilarious that he mistook her for an addict or someone with, nefarious intentions. And his surly attitude kind of like cracked open over time. And I liked that we see him fumbling with Reese and with Ainsley, just trying to make things work. And he's just like adorably awkward. But then you see like the antithesis of his personality with Lenny, and you just like watch those connections kind of take place. And I think you're right, because I do love a good dual POV romance, but I think being in Lenny's head this whole time really lended the story to being more of like that emotional arc. And one of my lyrics too, toward the end was just, oh dear, don't be discouraged. I've been exactly where you are. And I think that us watching Miles slowly open up about his struggle with grief and looking at Lenny and saying like, I know what it's like to be there. I know what it's like to stand in your shoes, and I'm going to help you out. Like I will help you turn on the light. I think you're right. I feel like having that additional POV might not have hit the same way that a lot of dual POV romances do.
Because I think too, with Miles's little Nancy Drew notebook, and like the list of everything that he has, I think revealing that from Miles' point of view, it wouldn't have
been as impactful.
Yeah. So I really like how she wrote this.
Yeah.
And I think too, it's mostly about Lenny's grief, but also, we learn about Miles, but like Reese lost somebody, it just shows
Yeah.
that like all of us do have that loss that we're trying to get through. And this is another one of my quotes because I think it was really good about grief is like describes it as like, consider you had a heart transplant. When Lou, who's Lenny's friend that died, your entire heart went with her. But you have to live, right? So now you have this new heart and you're getting used to it. And no one would expect you to run up a hill right after a transplant. So go easy on yourself and go slow. So I really just thought that was good advice for anything, and even grief, just transitioning to anything new, I think is really, really special.
Yeah. And I loved seeing their friendship blossom. At first I was like, okay, this slow burn is like a little too slow. And I love a good slow burn. But you get to the end and you reflect back on the journey and you realize that she truly needed that time to sit with those emotions. And I feel like he almost like cracked her open like an emotional crowbar. Like he just pried her open, but it was slowly, like it was splintering over time. He didn't just come in and like yank, he didn't just splinter her open right away. He really worked toward it. You can just see how much their trust built over time. And you said earlier too, like Miles showed up and that's what built the trust was he became a reliable person for Lenny. Even in her most like raw, uncomfortable moments. Because
he didn't care. He was there.
There were highs and there were lows in this book for her.
Yeah, and where at first, he thought she was a drug addict. Besides that, I don't think he ever judged her for anything. Like he just took her as she is, and that's what love's about. I thought it was fun too. Fun. That's one of our favorite adjectives. We need better really adjectives. Is. Give me a thesaurus. That's what our
Let me get word hippo out real quick.
Yeah. But I thought it was interesting what Lenny does for work too, and how after like Lou passed, she was very much like not ready to commit to anything. So she's doing these like babysitting jobs, and that's how she ends up meeting Miles, right? Yeah. Because she takes this job that was recommended by another family that she worked with to go babysit for or nanny for Ainsley, who's Miles' niece. And yeah, I thought their relationship was great. And it was fun to see Lenny like just have that personality. And I mean, having, even like my worst days with Sophie, right? Like I'm never like in front of her, I'm like, oh, hi, and it just like brings you back to life and just reminds you of those like simple joys. So I love that was Lenny's like way to still be good there.
Yeah, and I loved that Ainsley was not just I can't think of another word, but like she wasn't like an NPC in the story sort of thing. Like she was a dynamic character with a ton of personality, even though she was a child. Like she had so much life to her, and the way that Lenny like made adventures with her and made things fun and like I can't remember the exact term that they used because it's been a minute. Was it the special cupcakes? What did you call them?
Cupcake.
So when she made like the lucky cupcakes with her and all of that, like there were just like this was a love story, absolutely. But at its core, I feel like this is a story about like hope in starting fresh. And just I just think this book was like stunning. I loved it so much.
How about the dance?
Listen,
he just wanted to be such a good uncle. It was just so
he
precious.
did. And like the way he was just like asking questions and constantly trying to be better and just like wanting to learn. And like that was like the caveat to the live again list was that, Lenny had to help him get in good with Ainsley and Reese. And like, it's just so, I don't know. I just like this book just makes me like, it made me sob, but then it made me giggle and laugh. And I feel like there was just so much heart wrapped up into every little piece.
I almost would have liked it even better if it like didn't have the love story and it was like just the friends.
Oh, okay.
And left it more vague.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I think my favorite parts about it were everything else.
That makes sense. It did have like a romance subplot almost. Like the focus was their building friendship and then like a romance subplot, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that really was kind of their, they're tied together. And I'd love to, like, the one of the lyrics that you put down, the when there's wolves on your track.
Yeah, when I listened to this song, because I was like,
Mhm.
oh, let me try to find a song. And when I listened to it and then I heard that lyric, I was like, oh my gosh. The freaking tattoos that they got, the matching tattoos, the
Yep.
wolves howling at the
Yep.
moon. That
Like,
Miles actually got that with her.
I know. I feel like it was such an experience that I feel like a lot of people go through where you're like, yes, no, maybe I'm gonna do it. No,
Yeah.
yeah. And I just feel like Miles, like, it wasn't that he breathed life back into her necessarily, but I feel like he guided her back to like the life
Mm-hmm.
that she had before. One of the quotes that I wrote down was, you know, she's talking to her mom, and and finally she's talking to her mom. Like, it took her a long time to get there, which I actually also think Call Your Mom fits very well with the theme of like the reclusion and stuff like that. But she
Mm-hmm.
goes, he treats you well. And she said, Mom, he walked into hell and dragged me back out. And I just like that ties into a lyric specifically, the throw a punch, fall in love, give yourself a reason. Don't want to drive another mile without knowing that you're breathing. So won't you stay? Won't you stay? Won't you stay with me? And I feel like he's just telling her, like, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna fucking suck, but you have to live your life alongside the suck. Like, you have to live it along the hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You can't allow the hurt to keep you just completely static and not moving forward and not living a life. You can experience both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be erasing someone who means so much to you,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't have to be only thinking about the fact that you no longer have a person there with you.
Yeah. I also love the other quote that you put in here about
The
Lou and.
the longer one. So it
Mm-hmm.
is a long quote. I am going to read it though. Lenny says, I want to carry a framed 8x10 of her everywhere I go. If I'm with people who didn't know her, I continue. I want to talk about her incessantly. If I'm with people who did know her, I can't figure out why they're not talking about her incessantly. There's a beat of silence, and then he says, then do it. Do what? Talk about her incessantly. Let's say 2 hours. That should be enough to get us started at least. If you need more time, we can add some more. Tell me anything you want in as much detail as you want, and you don't have to worry about pleasantries or asking about my life or checking to see if I'm bored. For 2 hours, I'll listen, no strings. And I peek up at him seriously. He grabs another pillow, situates himself on his back, eyes up to the ceiling. Shoot. I like if that doesn't encompass who Miles is and what their friendship did for the two of them. Because I also think that Miles repaired pieces of himself through the friendship with Lenny, too. It wasn't just about healing her. He fixed
Mm-hmm.
a lot of pieces of himself that were kind of scattered on the floor as time went on.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about, like, did your song feel like, did you relate it to any particular scenes, or did you have any moments, like, as you were listening to the song? Now we talked about the tattoos, but you were like, okay, this is definitely it.
I think a couple of lines kind of struck that with me, like spinning out, thinking your life is going sideways, which I
Mm-hmm.
think happens to Lenny a lot. Is just like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? Like which way is my life going?
Which is really
Um,
funny though, because one of the lines is that I put is, "Oh, you're spiraling again." Like, very similar there.
mm-hmm. And then is so thin out of habit, hard to tell the real from the dreams you imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Lenny has trouble sleeping, she doesn't want to go back to their apartment. Like she just has, it's very hard for her, and so that just kind of brought me back to that piece of Lenny there.
Yeah.
What about for you?
I really liked the idea of, I know this song again is leans a little bit darker, but there are, thoughts of not necessarily like suicidal ideation or anything like that, but just it's like the idea that you don't want to die, but you also don't want to live.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it reminds me of it's not a song that I would have picked for this book, but the specific feeling reminds me of the song Groundhog Day by M. Behold, I think it is, or M. Behold. And it's just it's easy to say I'm okay, but the smile I'm wearing is fake. I'm suffocating, living Groundhog Day, day after day, day after day. I think I'm going to break. And I think it explains very well feeling like the hollow, empty feeling where you're supposed to be living, you need responsibilities and you have to do things, but it feels like hell attempting to do those things. And you want to live because someone left you and gave you a reason to live, like you need to live your life in honor of that person, but you have no idea how or where to start. So like in the line specifically, but don't you cancel any plans because I won't let you get the chance to never make them. Where showing up sometimes was so hard. Like when he made her exercise and she was like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are you making me exercise? And just those little things, like, you're going to show up. Like, you can't cancel these plans because I'm not going to let you get the chance to never make these plans. And the line too stayed on the line with you the entire night. Reminds me of, I feel like the fairy was a pretty prominent, thing throughout the book, and also a theme throughout the book of like ferrying yourself to and from places, and for that to be like a place of like pure desolation and also refuge for Lenny. And yeah, I don't know. The song is devastating, and this book was also devastating, but I think that there's a lot of hope in both the song and the book. And like I said, I just feel like this book is kind of hope personified. And one other quote that I had that seems a little innocuous, but I feel like when you have very, very strong friendships, this, feels like something I never want to think about this happening, but like I feel like one of my friends would do this to me is lose last words to me, get over it already, loser. And I think when you have those soul tie type of friendships, like that is something that you relate so heavily to. Where she was basically like, what are you doing? Like, I know I'm gone, but like, please get over it. Live your life. Like, I know I'm not here, but you are. Like, you're here. Please live your life. Yeah, what a delight Promise Me Sunshine was for me.
It was really good. I'm glad that, it was on my TBR, but then we moved it up because we decided to cover it. Yeah. And I'm so glad because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
One other quote that I really like that's going to stick with me and just help me through, like, with my anxiety and everything that I deal with on a daily basis is one thing Miles told Lenny is, like, just remember, like, do something good for you, something bad for you, and a change of scenery. And that's the winning formula to kind of, like, snap you out of it.
Yeah.
So I really like that. So, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Which I really like. And something bad for you, like, I'm thinking about going to get an Oreo, some water. That'll be good for me, and change of scenery.
There you go. Move from the office to the kitchen.
Yep.
Just a little something.
Since it's like midnight.
Yeah.
Can't go outside right now.
It's fine. But yeah, I feel like Call Your Mom, I feel like Meltdown was a really good choice for this. And I feel like the vast majority of people that would read this would love it. I would just say if you're someone who is not into like super emotional romances, like you prefer it to be a little bit fluffier and a little more fun, this one probably wouldn't hit as hard. But I've said it probably 3 times now, but I just thought it was so well done. Like, such a beautiful book, and it makes me want to read more by Cara Bastone for sure.
Yeah, I think I would even reread this too.
I almost did, but with the podcast launching and all of that, I did not have time to. But I would re-listen to this one in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Me too. And that was Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone with our song choices.
Yes. Thank you so much for turning the pages with us this week. Be sure to drop us a follow on Instagram, TikTok, and join our newsletter, which will be relaunching next month after we get everything together here.
Yep.
Just to keep up with us on the other side of the page.
Yes. And please, please, please drop a review and a 5-star rating of the podcast on your preferred platform, and share it with your book besties that might be interested.
Next week, we will be exploring a mysterious old house outside of London in the book We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough, which I think that's how you say her name. Side note, at the end of the episode, if you made it this far, this book is great that we're going to be reviewing. It's the same author that wrote Behind Her Eyes, which is a Netflix show. So definitely check it out.
Love that. So we will see you next week where we discuss We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. And forever and always,
keep reading with kindness.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.